Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking through the different challenges of Advent of Code. So if you don't know what Advent of Code is a website and it releases 2 challenges every day, just like an Advent calendar, 1st to the 25th of December. And you get to it by going to adventofcode.com. which you should be able to see just up here. Now, once you're on that, you will have to log in. But you will see this page. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, etc. to 25th. You may see a countdown here. This is until this challenge is released. And you can see you can click on these challenges. You get 1 star for completing a challenge. I got 2 stars for this and 1 star for that, so I've not completed this challenge yet. And you complete the challenges by coding, of course. So let's go to challenge 1. Okay, so this is challenge 1, and this is day 1. There are 2 sections. There is part 2 down here, but for now we are just going to be focusing on part 1 up here. So, this is the question. Santa's reindeer typically eat regular reindeer food, but they need a lot of magical energy to deliver presents on Christmas. For that, their favourite snack is a special type of star fruit that only grows in the deep in the jungle. The elves have brought you on their annual expedition to the grove where the fruit grows. They need to get 50 stars by December the 25th. Although elves assure you that the grove has plenty of fruit, you decide to grab any fruit you see along the way just in case. 2 puzzles are available every day. Each puzzle grants you 1 star. 25 times 2 equals 50. That's how many stars the reindeer need. Jungle can be overgrown, and the elves normally go on foot. One consideration is food, in particular the number of calories each elf is carrying, your puzzle input. For each puzzle you get a different puzzle input. The elves take turns writing down the number of calories contained by the various meals, snacks, rations, etc. that they've brought with them, 1 item per line. Each elf separates their own inventory from the previous elf's inventory, if any, by a blank line. For example, suppose the elves finish writing their item calories and end up with the following list. So this here is the first elf, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then this is another elf, it's separated by a blank line. Then this is another elf, this is another elf, and this is the final elf. So, in case the elves get hungry and need extra snacks, they need to know which elf to ask. They like to know how many calories are being carried by the elf carrying the most calories. In the example above, this is 24,000, carried by the 4th elf, which is right here. This elf, if you add all those numbers together, 9,000, 8,000, and 7,000, that gets up to 24,000 calories. Find the elf carrying the most calories. How many total calories is that elf carrying? So, we are now going to talk through how to do this particular puzzle. So, firstly, we need the puzzle input. Normally, as I've done this puzzle, I don't get this, but normally there will be a button around here saying, get your puzzle input. So you want to click on that button and it will open to a web page. Now you want to copy all that, it's very long. You want to copy all of that, put it into a text document, and then you want to import that into whatever coding software you are using to code. I am using a website called Replit, R-E-P-L-I-T. So you can go to that if you want. I'm on it right now, replit.com. So this is the first, and this is for code 1. So, this right here is the code used for this challenge. I'm just going to comment out this code right here. You do 3 of these. You can delete these 3. They'll automatically appear. And then I'm also going to do the same here. Then I can delete this. And I'll delete those 2. So this right here is the code. This document right here, elfnum.txt, elf numbers, that's what I've called my text document, with the big list of numbers in it. You can call this whatever you like, but whatever you call it, make sure you change the name that I've put here to whatever your name. So what you want to do, you firstly want to define these 2 variables, count and highest. Highest is going to be the amount of calories the highest elf is carrying, and the count is going to count the calories of the elves and then decide what was biggest out of all of those ones it counted. So firstly, we want to read the file in as a string. So, this is how you do it. With open elfnum.txt, all formatting the same as here, as you can make this number whatever you want, this letter whatever you want. I've just made it E for elf. Then, all num is my variable, all numbers, equals e.readLines. This is going to read all the lines in this document right here. Then you want to make a for loop. For line in all num, this variable right here, line equals line.strip. So what this does right there is, when we get to read lines, it right here, it will read it with all the numbers, but it will do one more thing. Wherever there is an enter, every single line, there's an enter here, 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 there's an enter everywhere. It will put 3 slashes and then an N, just like this. It will do that. So what the strip function does is it cleans up our file, and it will get rid of all those ///n. So for example, if we run this, you can see there are no, these are the numbers, you can see there are no ///n's. Although, if I did not do this, well, I do get an error because all the other code relies on the fact that there are no ///n, but it would happen. Let's just get that line back in. And if I run it now, I get no error. Just like that. Now, the next line is if line exclamation mark equals blank, colon. What this does, exclamation mark equals means not equal. So if the line is not equal to blank, blank is this empty line right here. So if it's not equal to blank, i.e. it has a number in, then print the line. You can see each line is being printed. Here, 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 here. And then count this variable we defined here equals count plus int line. So what does this do? You can also do plus equals int line, just like this, if you want to make your code tidier. You can also do that, but for these purposes, I will just be using this. So what does this do? This adds the number in a line, which it will be just one of these numbers. So this number, or this number, or this number, to the variable count. The reason why we put int in here is because currently all these numbers are strings. We cannot add a string, so we have to change it to an integer, int, which is why we put int just here. Again, this still works if you do it like that. Now, but if it is a blank, so if it has no number in, it's just like this, then we move on. Else, print blank plus line. So it will make a new line and print blank in it. You can see an example of that just here. It's typed blank. Print count. So what this now does, this prints the total count so far. Because when you've got to the end of, well, when you get to a blank, that means that the elf beforehand has finished with its calories section. And because this has been counting all the numbers in that elf, it will then count the total calories. So you print count. You can see an example of this here. The number of the total calories for that elf will always come after a blank, because we put it below here. If count is higher than highest, then highest equals count. So what this does, this checks if highest is smaller than count. The first time this runs, this will always be true, because highest will be at 0. But this will not always be true after that. So how this is going to work is highest will always be the highest elf, because count is the current number for that elf. And if count is higher, then it will change highest to be that number. So highest is then updated as the highest number, which is done on this line right here. The last thing you do is these two lines. The top one is print the highest is plus string highest. So this right here prints as the highest is, that's just text. But it then prints highest. So it prints the number of the highest elf so far. You can see an example of that here and here. The reason why this number is the same right here and here is because this elf was not higher than this number. You can see it was 47,000 roughly, and this was 66,000, and so the number didn't change. It still prints if the number doesn't change. Again, we put str. What str does is it changes the highest from an integer to a string. So we're doing the opposite of what we did here, but to a different variable. So we're changing it back to a string because we've got a string here, so we can't put an integer and a string together. We have to change this to a string, and we can't change that to an integer. So that then prints the highest number so far with words to make it make more sense. The last thing we then have to do is set count to 0. What this does is, if you don't do this, this will just keep adding and adding and adding, and you'll get a huge number which is wrong. So you have to set count to 0 so it can count for the next elf. So what's the answer? The answer is the lowest number you get. So you go down your list, down, and you get to the lowest, the highest is thing, and that is the answer. And you can see if I go to my advent of code, if I go down a bit, the answer was 66719, which is the same as this reported. I will run it again, and you can see that is the answer. You can see when I go to the top, it started off as 66339, and then it would have changed. There you go. You can see it changed around here. So this elf was higher than the last elf. And that's how it works, guys. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. And I'll be uploading a video about the second part of day 1 and the other days as well. If you want to see more videos about Advent of Code, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss another video. Have a good day, guys. Bye.